Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Dracy, and I want to share with you what I consider the number one by far greatest anniversary issue of all time of a superhero comic. Um, I'm talking either issue 50, issue 100, issue 150, issue 200, and so on. A numerical high watermark, which usually does involve a lot of extras. Uh, Before that, I'm going to do a little self promotion. On Amazon exclusive, I have three novels, prose novels, called The Demands. It's about a band in Pittsburgh, PA, that an indie band that plays a lot of bars and clubs, built up ahead of steam as far as popularity, but a lot of the clubs are owned by the Russian mob. A lot of bars, a lot of clubs, and Lainey ends up romantically entangled with one of them, unbeknownst to her. So we'll see what happens because it's ugly. It gets under your nails. It's gritty. It's horrible stuff I wrote. I can't believe I actually wrote that stuff. Okay, and you can check the opening chapters on Amazon. Available on Kindle, free with Kindle Unlimited as well. But I like the paperback too. All right, here we go. Okay, commercial's over. I hope I got in and out of that. Here we go. The big reveal. Da 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 da. Well, how did I arrive at this conclusion? Well, there's a number of factors. It's a self-contained issue. It's not only star-studded in the characters, but as well as the artists. And I mean the artists that are best known for their characters. This came out in 1981 or 2 or something like that. And I gotta take a drink of water. Okay, you can just drink in this. While I drink this, you can drink in that cover. Okay. DC, where the action is clearly. Now, people will say like, "Oh, Spider-Man 200 was cool. Spider-Man 100, all that." FF 200, but they were conclusions or beginning to storylines that extended beyond just one issue. I guess you could say Spider-Man 50 is pretty great too. And I mean, it is very good, but this I think really packs a punch of fan service in the best possible way. And this was back in '82 or so when Perez went over to DC after his contract with Marvel came up. He did Justice League and Teen Titans at the same time, the refurbished version he did with Marv Wolfman. And he did this for like a year, but then, something had to give, and he did every single issue of Teen Titans, New Teen Titans, for many years, with the exception of Kurt Swan, issue 5. And that was probably just a scheduling conflict. All right, now I'm going to get to the point, okay? FF 200 was pretty good, but where Doctor Doom got defeated at the end, but it was a year-long storyline, so it's not self-contained. I want something self-contained when I make my judgment on such things. Now, notice the cool background with the colors, the red, the green, and the blue. Before, we say this before, coloring on computers, is that what you did? Is you inked the thing, and you did an acetate overlay, and you would have to have at least 3 acetate overlays of the color, because if you see the original art, you may not see any of this, or it might just be in pencil. And this was in the early 80s. It's like a lot of people really got ambitious with this stuff. And see everything back here, wraparound cover. Okay, let's call out the names. Jim Aparo, Terry Austin, Brian Bolland, Brett Breeding, Pat Broderick, Jerry Conway, Frank Giacoia, Dick Giordano, Carmen Infantino, Gil Kane, Joe Kubert, George Perez. Come on, you're not going to get a lineup like that. I changed my mind about Spider-Man 50. It's a great story, but this is fat packed with superstar artists, and it's very cohesive. It's a brilliant book, and not that expensive either, whether it's your local comic shop or eBay or whatever. Now that is a 2-page spread cover. It's just so well done because you get, I don't know, it's just good. And we're going to start Where are we going to start, Drew? We're going to start with page 1. All those artists are within this issue. There's a commentary by writer Jerry Conway explaining why issue 200 of Justice League has come out after Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and all that, and that's because a lot of the Justice League issues were bi-monthly, or they were like 6 weeks in between, and so it just took them a while to catch up. And beautiful inks by Brett Breeding, who he's done a lot of fantastic stuff. This is going back to the origins of the Justice League plus some of their early adventures. So there you see the originals. And the original lineup. Can you imagine what that page goes for? I know I keep saying that. I know I sound very mercenary, but I just mean, wouldn't it be cool to have on your wall? That's my main thing, you know. So we start off. Look, just drink that in, baby. That's wonderful. A League Divided. George Perez and Brett Breeding, they do the bookend. They do the bookend storyline, and the guest artists come in later. Roy Thomas, technical advisor, that always helps. And it's a JLA satellite. Special appearances, because they're not on the team just at that moment. Firestorm, the brash young guy who was a jock when he's not being a superhero, he's a high school jock. He's doing monitor duty. Now, monitor duty. Oh, gotta get another water. Oh my God. Hold on. Again, please excuse my dry mouth. So, allergies are so fun. Well, he's doing monitor duty, and that used to be sort of a thing. I mean, if you got a big enough satellite with all kinds of cool shit, you probably don't need a monitor. But that kind of, they even did that in Justice League International with J.M. DeMatteis and Kevin Maguire, etc. Well, Firestorm's boredom is interrupted with the appearance of Martian Manhunter. Now, this was the first appearance of him in a long time. I know it seems crazy because he's been around as a team member and solo for like almost on a monthly basis for 40 some years, but it's been many years since Martian Manhunter come back, and the whole book is basically sort of like the new JLA versus the old JLA. So this is by Pat Broderick and Terry Austin, who really brings the best out of Pat Broderick there. He brings out the best to everybody, but you know. So there's the whole sucking that Martian Manhunter created. Firestorm closes it up, and that's his little. He has a professor talking in his mind. They share a mind link. Long story. So he's like, "What's going on?" And Martian Manhunter. I'll just say John Jones. That's his nickname. What is this place? And why did the JLA signal device lead me here when I activated the homing signal? Signal device. So he's looking around. He's thinking Firestorm's a fraud. Turns invisible. Okay, that's another thing. I'll get to this in a minute. Martian Manhunter. And this was sort of a tryout because shortly after this came out, there was an ongoing series of Firestorm that continued. He only lasted 5 issues during the before the DC implosion when they started gutting titles. So he only had 5 issues, but then they relaunched it with both Conway and Broderick. I guess they got along well enough here, and it lasted 100 issues with various artists along the way. So he finds Martian Manhunter's one weakness: heat. And boy, do I love that. And I've mentioned before, I even like Firestorm's costume. It's kind of goofy, but the puffy arms, I don't know, they're kind of neat. But so Martian Manhunter has eye beams, and he's super strong, takes him out. Now here's the thing: I've said in previous episode from last week that, and I neglected to mention Martian Manhunter characters who are too friggin' powerful to ever be in a super team, because he or she would make all the other characters redundant. They'd just be like hangers on, or maybe they'd catch a stray Hydra agent and corner him or something. And so Martian Manhunter, he can he's like strong like Superman, except instead of kryptonite, he is more vulnerable to fire, which is much more common, or easy to come across, of course. So he's got these eye beams that he shoots out, which I forgot he could do, and he can turn invisible, and he can shapeshift. Like he could stretch out his arms and stuff, or become somebody else. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous. I mean, they threw everything at this character, and in reality, there should be nothing that can stop him. I mean, if there's heat, just build I don't know, like build some kind of thing around you that will keep you cool. So anyway, he takes that one. Again, Firestorm was another character I said too damn powerful for a super team. Check that previous episode, please. Now we go back to George Perez and Brett Breeding, just doing some major great work. Look at it. Very Terry Austin-ish background here. So he sends a signal out to the team, the highest priority signal. And there's the JLA at present without the big heavy hitters. And boy, I love that splash. And bear in mind, Jerry Conway's writing everything. He's writing the framing sequences and the individual sequences too. And this also calls back to the JSA and early Justice League, where they have separate chapters and then they all meet at the end. Except this time has a star-studded group of artists. So yeah, Sick with Terror, Pretty Bird. There's what's going on. He goes, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. The others, where are they? I think I know, kid, and it scares me. John Jones came here after one of the Apocalypse meteors. That means this all ties to Justice League's first case. Yada yada yada. That I skimmed over at the beginning because you gotta enjoy something on your own. I can't spoil everything. Here comes perhaps one of the most annoying characters ever, Snapper Carr, who was kind of like the Rick Jones teenage guy to the Justice League, and he snaps his finger all the time. And that would get old within like 2 minutes. I would just have to, I don't know what. I have to hot glue his fingers together, okay? I don't recommend you do it at home. I'm just saying. So I'm trying to figure out. But they found, they figured something about those meteors that grabbed hold of the original members' minds. John Jones thinks it's years ago. The others might think the same way. And they talk about where the meteorite's been buried, sections of it. So we get one of our first incredible legendary artists doing still legendary work. Jim Aparo, known for Brave and the Bold for many years, and then Batman and Detective afterwards. He did Aquaman also. This was a beautiful choice. And he also did some solo stories, The Phantom Stranger. Now, The Phantom Stranger is essentially DC's version of The Wash. My dry mouth. The Watcher, who basically stays around and watches. So, where can I get that gig? So, there's some shenanigans going on. Blown away. And then Red Tornado. That's just an old joke a friend of mine made. Beautiful splash. Beautiful splash. Red Tornado I have mixed feelings on. He's got kind of a cool costume, but he's not quite the Vision, and he's not quite Machine Man. So, and for some reason, Phantom Stranger zaps Red Tornado with lightning, and for no particular reason, while Aquaman takes off with his part of the meteorite. And this is pretty lame. He says, forces are at work here which must not be denied. Defeat for one of the original Justice Leaguers might lead to defeat them all. Thus, at an ironic twist, I'm forced to help them overcome this threat, and I had to side with one against another. The choice is not easy, but none of mine are, such as the curse of the Phantom Stranger. I'm like, what? What? I mean, I know the Watchers interfere with a lot of stuff, but he didn't take sides when it came to super teams fighting. Anyway, he comes back. Red Tornado's in bad shape. So far, so good. So I can see what page this is. I miss page numbers. Do you? Now, Dick Giordano. Fantastic. He does Zatanna versus Wonder Woman. Now, she doesn't look like Zatanna because she originally looked like a magician with the fishnet stockings and the top hat. And they decided, no, let's give her something updated. So they gave her this really ugly costume. Ugly ass costume. Shitty ass costume. And it just makes her look, I don't know, you get no sense of her personality. Because Zatanna, with the top hat and all that, she had a little bit of whimsy to her. So he ends up on Paradise Island where there's all these beautiful women. I would call it Paradise Island too. So she's about to get the meteorite sinking into the earth. My doing. And also, Giordano is known for drawing beautiful women. And he's also, in his lifetime, he was one of the greatest inkers. And the whole gimmick with Zatanna, she says her spells backwards, which is really annoying. But, it's just the way it is. It's like, I don't want homework. I don't want to do word Scrabble. I mean, it's not that much different, but you get me. Well, Wonder Woman gets away with her invisible plane. And now it's back to George Perez, Bright Breeding. See, this book never lets up. You get great art, and the story's rolling along. And my favorite, Green Lantern versus the Atom, inked by him as well. That is spectacular. That is spectacular stuff. Another splash. So this is much like the original Spider-Man Annual #1 that I had mentioned, that where every villain fight with Spider-Man from the Sinister Six, they earn their own full splash page. Great stuff. And he gets away. So far, the originals are getting away with the meteorite. He snaps his finger and a little, what do you call that? See that? Let's keep. I can't think of the words. I'm not going to try. Whoa. Sneaky peeky. Flash versus Elongated Man from the artist who basically put both of the characters on the map. Elongated Man isn't really a household word, but Carmen did a lot of those as well. And it's inked by Frank Giacoya, who I really, really like, because at this point, Carmen's stuff was really scratchy, and I would consider it sloppy, but I'm probably speaking heresy. So, don't bet on it. And that's a great splash, too. That's terrific fun. I mean, that's to do a speedster and a stretching guy at the same, splash. That's tricky, and Infantino did it. You know what it is? I've liked his designs better and his layouts better than his own finishes. So Giacoya really ties it in nicely. Okay, now we're back in the original cave, which was their headquarters for, the first year or two of the original book. So he's with the original members. They don't know why they had to get the meteor. They just have this compulsion. And a young slip of a lad named Brian Boland is doing this episode, this issue. And I think I could be 100% wrong, but this may be his first outing as in American comic books, because he had done Judge Dredd for a year or two, and even then, now that is a very uncommon female face. He puts little crinkles on the on the brow, and a lot of times that's discouraged because a lot of times it's like if you have too many lines, then you start to age the character, whether it's a man or a woman. And also, he was the first one who gave females like a strong jaw, like Judge Anderson and Judge Dredd. She has like a square jaw, but it's sexy nonetheless. So some lucky SOB has this splash. Takes him down. Leaves. Now that's another face right there. That's just incredible. And again, you can see like her brow is crinkled because she's got hit in the noggin. And he's all pissy and I quit the league so I can avoid cases and concentrate on what I do best. She says, "What you do best is kvetch, Holly." And as much as I like to listen, we've got better things to do. What's funny about kvetch, that in a lot of phrases, shit, I can't think of it. I learned, a second. I guess a lot of Jewish American slang. If I could be wrong, I could be wrong on that part. So there was a dummy sitting there with apparently a football head, and well, they're all beating themselves up, and they're like, "What's going on? I don't understand." Then Joe Kubert, as good as he was when he started the first issues of Hawkeye, Hawkman. That's just, and colored by Tatiana Wood, who I think was Wally Wood's widow. Maybe I'm wrong. She also colored most of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run. So, man, that's great. And it's a Superman robot. Superman had all these stupid extra robots for some reason, just to do odd jobs, like a superpowered Mike Rowe. So here comes another one. Keep shooting him down. Then, God, that's beautiful. Oofda. Oofda. And, it's one of those things you had to go with it. He says that, wait a second. He said he forgot the lead shields. Keep Kryptonite's ray from me using his plastoled alloy, so pure it's almost transparent. I'm like, okay, whatever. We'll go with it. So, more George Perez groundbreaking storytelling. Yiddish is the word I'm looking for. Comics taught me a lot of Yiddish words. I don't know. Comics taught me a lot of them. I can't think of them off the time. But kvetch was one of them. And, I knew kids from school who were Jewish, but they never really used Yiddish for expressions. So they rescue Hawkman. Love that bottom shot of him. And so now we're going back to pure Perez. And, of course, fire. Fire bad, paper, water. So there's another team there. And again, it was broken up in individual chapters. Now it's broken up into individual teams. I love that. I love the approach of all three of them. Oh, and he's running so fast. Oh, this first time I realized Aquaman wasn't a joke. I hadn't read much of him before. I never cared for him. And, a lot of people goof on him and such. But this one Crystal character reflects light on Flash. Aquaman grabs him and takes him way down. Beautiful whiteout effects over top Zipatone. He goes, takes him down. Black water closes in around them, and the one-time Sea King plunges deep into the ocean's abyss to a place where the pressure is measured not in pounds but in tons per square inch. Aquaman was born to survive such depths. His glass-bodied enemy was not. Friggin' awesome. Love that first time. And, for a long time, people really, they could have done more of that kind of thing. But I don't remember if Conway ever wrote an Aquaman solo story. But there's some fun George Perez stuff. Here's another team. Adam Firestorm, really. And another famous cityscape from Perez. I mean, he was insane in the best possible way. And his storytelling, it just, with all these elements going on, your eye still knows what's going on. That's the trick. I see a lot of modern artists that don't, they prefer fashion over storytelling. And so some more. Oh, here we go. Typical thing. Just like Hawkeye. I guess that's my cue to take a walk. From now on, it's members only, right? Arrow, don't leave us. Come back to us. You must know that we need you. It's just silly. Yeah, but I need you. I'm a loner. And the league's just too big for a guy like me. Or am I too big for the league? Is that what I've been saying all this time? Oh, nuts. I guess I'm back. Yay! He snapped his fingers. He's got me doing it now. I hate that shit. That's like leaving a party and wanting everybody to be like, where is he? Pay attention to him. And unfortunately, Hawkeye has been written a lot like that too, even though Hawkeye was the original Archer with the attitude. And okay, I'm jumping ahead. That is a friggin' amazing 200th issue, wouldn't you believe? I think so. So that's it, and I challenge anybody to come up with a better anniversary issue. You have all these classic artists doing the characters that they've most associated with. And that's a thing that is so rare because a lot of these guys are older and they could, who knows if they would still be in their prime or passed away. That's the other thing. Superman 700 gets an honorable mention but it's not so much a story, it's a celebration of Superman. And you have a lot of pinups by Kirby, Ditko, Steranko, did a short story, and Klaus Janson. And to me, that's a very close second. And then after that, there's a bit of a divide. So I hope you like this, and thanks for putting up with my dry mouth. And remember, buy the demands. It's prose novels. But if you like rocking and rolling, and you like violence, and you like really cool stuff, I think you'd like it. All right. You have a good day, all.